Mission control to all XRPL flight commanders. Perform your final system checks and secure your harnesses, because the countdown sequence has officially been initiated. Welcome back to the launch pad, ladies and gentlemen. Today's flight briefing is designated Ripple's latest update could send XRP flying. And if you are currently staring at the main telemetry screens panicking over the altitude dropping to the $1.40 level, you are entirely misunderstanding the physics of a deep space trajectory. When you launch a multi-billion-dollar financial payload into the stratosphere, you do not simply ignite the thrusters without building a massive accumulation of kinetic energy at the base. The retail astronauts are currently experiencing extreme G-forces and screaming that the mission is completely scrubbed because of a minor atmospheric dip. But down here in mission control, we are looking at the raw propellant data, and it is absolutely explosive. Ripple just pushed a massive core software update to the primary ledger infrastructure, effectively upgrading the entire propulsion system for global institutional tokenization. While the retail sector is completely paralyzed by fear, staring at the artificial gravity well-designed by Wall Street market makers, the elite quantitative flight directors are quietly fueling the rocket. They are deliberately suppressing the spot price of the asset using the perpetual futures market to keep the launch vehicle bolted to the pad while they load their institutional cargo holds. Every single time the price dips to that $1.40 threshold, our scanners detect a massive transfer of physical tokens, leaving the public exchanges and entering deep cold storage vaults. This is a highly coordinated algorithmic accumulation phase. The market makers want you to experience psychological exhaustion, unbuckle your harness, and abandon the mission right before the main engines ignite. They are buying your discounted tokens to fill the reserves of the newly approved United States Exchange traded funds. Do not let the engineered turbulence shake you out of the command module. The latest infrastructure update is the exact ignition spark required to break through the regulatory atmosphere. You must completely ignore the superficial red candles on your dashboard and trust the underlying structural engineering of the network. Hold your positions, commanders. The thrusters are primed, the software is flawless, and the countdown is live. Initiating the second phase of this mission briefing, let us analyze the exact payload parameters that are causing such extreme volatility readings across the global financial monitors. The mainstream financial press is broadcasting a narrative that the recent macroeconomic turbulence has completely severed the fuel lines to the digital asset sector. This is a calculated deception designed to keep civilian investors grounded. While the public retail price remains artificially constrained within a narrow orbital band, the United States spot XRP exchange-traded funds have quietly achieved an astonishing milestone. These highly regulated, institutional-grade transport vehicles, commanded by financial leviathans like Bitwise, Canary, and Franklin Templeton, have successfully sequestered over $1.3 billion in physical cryptographic assets. How is it technologically possible for $1 billion of concentrated thrust to enter the system without violently launching the spot price out of the atmosphere? The answer lies in the elegant efficiency of over-the-counter dark pools. These massive asset managers are completely bypassing the public retail exchanges to avoid triggering a premature structural supply shock. They are systematically sourcing their digital propellant through private institutional channels, absorbing the capitulation of panicked retail investors while simultaneously utilizing perpetual futures contracts to artificially cap the upward trajectory. To fully comprehend Ripple's latest aerodynamic strategy, we must also analyze the explosive scaling of the RLUSD stablecoin infrastructure. In the span of just a few months, RLUSD has violently expanded past the $1.5 billion market capitalization threshold. Retail observers mistakenly view stablecoins as a structural threat to the native XRP token, which fundamentally ignores the underlying physics of the ledger. The XRP ledger is the primary propulsion engine, and RLUSD is a high-speed orbital application running on top of it. In order to process these massive stablecoin transactions across international borders, the network absolutely requires the combustion of XRP as cryptographic gas. As Fortune 500 corporations integrate RLUSD into their treasury management systems to escape the extreme friction of legacy banking, the mechanical burn rate of XRP will accelerate exponentially. This creates an unyielding mathematical demand vector that operates completely independent of retail sentiment. The launch sequence is officially locked and loaded. Now we must elevate our telemetry scanners to the geopolitical layer, where Ripple's latest update is fundamentally rewriting the intersection of sovereign aerospace law and cryptographic truth. The most visionary move of the entire 2026 fiscal cycle is unfolding right now, and the retail market is entirely missing the paradigm shift. Recently, Mission Control received the groundbreaking confirmation that Ripple's Chief Executive Officer, Brad Garlinghouse, has officially been appointed to the Commodity Futures Trading Commission's Innovation Advisory Committee. The technology company that spent years battling the intense gravitational pull of the SEC is now literally sitting inside the federal regulatory apparatus, actively architecting the legislative flight path for the global digital economy. This is not merely a corporate victory, it is a profound systemic integration that officially clears the XRPL for global takeoff. By embedding themselves into Washington, D.C., Ripple is ensuring that their network becomes the default compliance standard. But the breathtaking scope of this strategy extends far beyond American airspace. We are currently witnessing an unprecedented European expansion. Societe Generale, a colossal French banking institution managing over $1.8 trillion in global assets, has officially integrated its MiCA-compliant euro stablecoin directly into the Ripple infrastructure. Concurrently, elite intelligence confirms that Deutsche Bank is aggressively adopting Ripple's enterprise technology to modernize their archaic cross-border payment architecture. When trillion-dollar sovereign banking entities voluntarily integrate a decentralized ledger into their core frameworks, it validates the network as the undisputed bedrock of future global settlement. The retail market, hopelessly paralyzed by the short-term price manipulation hovering in the $1.40 range, is utterly failing to comprehend this reality. They are abandoning their seats out of pure psychological exhaustion, right at the exact moment when the legacy financial titans are locking the foundational infrastructure into place. The integration of these massive European and American banking entities guarantees a tidal wave of future utility volume that will mathematically overwhelm the current algorithmic price suppression. The old financial system is dying, and Ripple is seamlessly installing the global upgrade. The architectural convergence is happening right now, and it is absolutely beautiful to witness from orbit. As we conclude this exploration of the final frontier, we must translate this sweeping macroeconomic and technological convergence into a highly disciplined, actionable flight manual for your personal wealth preservation. We have illuminated the massive institutional accumulation hidden within the ETF dark pools, the exponential utility growth of the RLUSD stablecoin engine, the astonishing federal regulatory capture via the CFTC, and the colossal European banking integrations. So, what is the ultimate mathematical destination of this network? The most advanced predictive analytics models, continuously refined by elite quantitative flight directors at institutions like Standard Chartered Bank, have established a macro-adjusted baseline target of $8 per token for the conclusion of the 2026 fiscal cycle. To the uninitiated retail observer, paralyzed by the current artificial price ceiling, this projection sounds like an impossible fantasy. But to the technological visionary who understands the mathematical inevitability of a massive supply shock colliding with exponential utility volume, an $8 valuation is merely a conservative stepping stone. A calculated leap from the current suppression zone to that institutional baseline represents a staggering return on capital that completely redefines traditional investment metrics. However, you cannot successfully navigate this transition without a ruthlessly disciplined framework. Human emotion is the ultimate enemy of generational wealth. I strongly advocate for the implementation of a rigid automated strategy known as the Thirds Protocol. When the network price inevitably shatters the historical all-time high parameter of $3.84, you must algorithmically eject exactly 33% of your holdings. This single, unemotional action recovers your entire initial capital deployment, instantly transforming the remainder of your portfolio into pure, stress-free profit. The secondary operational tranche is designated to ride toward the $8 institutional target zone, serving as your primary mechanism for total financial liberation. The final tertiary portion must be secured in deep cold storage for the ultimate 2030 macro play, anticipating the network's final evolution into the absolute core of the tokenized global economy. You must upgrade your cryptographic security infrastructure utilizing hardware authentication immediately, as malicious actors are escalating their attacks. The global financial operating system is undergoing its most profound upgrade in a century. Execute your visionary strategy with absolute precision, and I will see you at the absolute summit of this technological revolution. Secure your cargo.